denied by the United States military that as Israel was attacking Hamas, which very unfortunately was located in a section of Doha, the capital of Qatar.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
Unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States that is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace, does not advance Israel or America's goals. However, eliminating Hamas, who have profited off the misery of those living in Gaza, is a worthy goal.
Leavitt says President Trump instructed his envoy Steve Witkoff to notify Qatar of the impending strikes. The attack does raise questions about the ceasefire negotiations for Gaza. Stephen Zunes is director for Middle Eastern Studies at the University of San Francisco.
It would appear to indicate that the Israelis are not interested in pursuing a ceasefire at all.
There was a major revision today to job numbers over several months. CBS's Jill Schlesinger has had a look at the new numbers.
These revisions mean that job growth during that period between April of 2024 and March of 2025 this year was half as fast as we expected.
The Labor Department issues the so-called benchmark revisions every year. Allison Keyes reports on a Census Bureau report that shows incomes barely rose for many Americans last year.
The Census Bureau report finds that the median inflation-adjusted household income was just under $84,000, a 1.3% increase over the previous year's just under $83,000. That reflects very little change from 5 years ago, just before the COVID pandemic began. The median inflation-adjusted income rose over 5% for Asians and Hispanics last year, while black income dropped 3.3%.
Forbes is out with its annual Forbes 400 list of the richest Americans. Elon Musk tops the list, followed by Oracle's Larry Ellison and Meta's Mark Zuckerberg. Chase Peterson Withorn with Forbes says celebrities are being pushed off the list by tech and business giants.
You know, there's all this talk about economic slowdown, companies, tightening their belts. Inflation is still around. And yet the billionaire class is doing very, very well right now because the stock market is doing very well.
On Wall Street at this hour, stocks are higher. Investors are hoping the revised job numbers spark a cut in interest rates by the Fed. The Dow is up 191 points, the Nasdaq higher by 45. This is CBS News.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
2 dead, 1 injured in Burien. We are at the scene, but first, KIRO News Radio traffic. Here's Nate Connors.
All right, Heather, AAA has our update. We cleared our crash in Renton, North 405 at State Route 900. Traffic remains a little tough still through the S-curves. The backup on the Valley Freeway has cleared. Renton to Bellevue, you're down to 25 minutes. Just a 5-minute delay now. North 5 heading into Seattle still slows a bit, approaching the West Seattle Bridge. Nothing heavy here. South 5 remains wide open between Everett and Seattle. Our lake bridges are doing great. In Tumwater, North 5, that off-ramp to Deschutes Way and Custer Way remains closed due to our earlier car fire. Now, we have a tow on scene, so this should be out of our way shortly. And out toward the Hood Canal Bridge, the bridge just reopened after a brief closure for marine traffic, and you're going to run into a brief backup at the bridge. AAA Washington membership unlocks epic roadside rescues, hundreds of local perks and discounts, travel and insurance expertise. Join today. KIRO News Radio real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Heather Bosch. Investigators remain on the scene of a stabbing and possible double homicide in Burien. Live to the scene in KIRO News Radio's James Lynch. James?
Heather, deputies were called here about 9:30 last night for what appeared to be a man with a stab wound down in the parking lot at the Montrose Apartments on South 152nd Street. Our news partner, KIRO 7 TV, is reporting 2 people were also found dead in one of the apartments here, although that has not been confirmed by the King County Sheriff's Office. Here's Sheriff spokesperson Brandon Ho.
Detectives and deputies that were canvassing the apartment complex, they were talking to anybody and everybody who might have seen anything, might know anything, might have heard anything.
Now, the victim was last reported in critical condition. Deputies say there is no ongoing threat to the community. Live in Burien, James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Seattle police say they arrested a man who randomly stabbed a person last night near 12th Avenue South and South King Street. Police say they used real-time crime center cameras to track him down. The city council plans to vote this afternoon on whether to expand the camera program. Critics raise privacy concerns. Pierce County deputies are poring over the 40-plus guns and boxes of ammo seized from a 13-year-old boy's Parkland home. Things he wrote in notebooks and on social media led investigators to believe he planned a mass shooting, though Deputy Carly Capetto says they need to find proof.
Currently, right now, the only charges we'd be able to get out of this case would be unlawful possession of firearms.
She says his parents might also face negligence charges. We now know the White River Bridge, damaged by a semi just over 3 weeks ago, won't reopen until November. Washington Transportation Secretary Julie Meredith says the Buckley Bridge is in need of significant repairs.
They'll be on the bridge 7 days a week, replacing the damaged steel, heat straightening the bent members, and repainting the affected areas of what is an historic structure.
Damage is estimated at $5 to $6 million. King County has a new detective on the hunt for evidence of child pornography. More from KIRO 7 TV's Brooke Griffin.
This is Mouse. He's a 2.5-year-old Golden Retriever Lab mix.
The first of his kind on the King County Sheriff's Office employee roster.
You want to go to work? Let's go to work.
Partnered with his detective.
So Mouse is an electronic storage detection dog. So his job is to find any and all kind of electronic devices that might be important for police to find for our cases or for evidence.
Evidence of abuse, including child pornography.
Mouse can sniff out chemicals used on those small electronic devices. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Cloudy skies today with highs in the low 70s. It's 65 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO Newsradio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News. It's the all-new Jake and Spike Show on KIRO Newsradio.
Welcome to the show. Happy, what is it, Tuesday? Is it Tuesday, Laura? Yes? Tuesday.
I can confirm.
September 9th, Tuesday. Jake Skorheim here, flying, to say solo is unfair. Laura's here, I'm here. Spike's not here, he's back tomorrow. But yeah, it's just gonna be fun today. A smaller crew for the show today. So hopefully you all are going to enjoy it. You can join us on the YouTube page. You can get us on the text line, 888-973-5476. I want to start with a story in First Things First that I do not understand, and I would need some help legally to try to make sense of this, because this makes no sense to me. Do you guys remember a guy by the name, this is a moniker that was given to him. It's a horrible thing to be known by, but the South Hill Rapist. Awful story.
Well, if the shoe fits.
Yes. It's a horrible thing to be known by, but it's well-deserved. So he's known as the South Hill Rapist. Seattle Times has this good write-up on him. The reason they're talking about him is there is a very good chance, in fact, a highly likely chance, according to the state, that he's going to be released, which seems crazy to me. If you're known as the South Hill Rapist, I feel like that's somebody we can keep locked up. But he is known as the South Hill Rapist. This is from the Seattle Times. He stoked fear throughout Spokane starting in the late 1970s and is set to be released from his civil commitment at McNeil Island. Authorities believe Fred Kevin Coe is responsible for, I didn't know the story. Had you heard of the story, Laura? This is obviously before both of our times.
Yeah, no. I mean, he's been locked up for how many years?
He's been locked up for a number of years now. He's been at his current residence since 2008, which is a treatment facility. It's like a special commitment center. But before that, he was serving 25 years for conviction on rapes. I think one rape, actually. He had other rapes that he was accused of that were overturned. But authorities believe he is responsible, according to previous reporting and court documents, in Spokane between 1978 and 1981. They believe he's responsible for between 30 and 40 rapes. So pretty awful, horrible. And now they are trying to say that this guy should be let go, and he's going to be let go to Spanaway in Pierce County. That makes zero sense to me. He was caught, according to the story, he was caught after investigators became aware of a pattern of attacks along bus routes in Spokane, and a victim jogging at Hart Field came forward. He was found guilty of originally of three counts of first-degree rape in 1985. The state Supreme Court overturned two of those convictions, saying that the victims had been hypnotized by police before identifying Coe as a suspect, so they were no longer reliable witnesses because they had been hypnotized.
Hypnotized by police. I've never heard of that.
Have you never heard of that?
No.
So sometimes they will bring in somebody who will try to help you sift through the noise and to try to access memories that maybe you have blacked away, like blacked out because they're so horrible. And they will use hypnotism to do this, and it's really fascinating.
Like honest to God county fair hypnotism.
Well, I don't know if I don't think they're like going to the Washington State Fair and just like grabbing a hypnotist.
On stage. Yeah.
But they will bring in professionals whose job it is, like therapists and stuff.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. But in 1985, state Supreme Court said that's not admissible as evidence, so we can't actually convict him on those accounts. But there was one other one that stuck. So he gets a 25-year sentence on the remaining conviction. He's sent to Walla Walla State Penitentiary. And then in 2008, Rob McKenna, former Attorney General of our state, smartly and wisely realizes, I don't think this guy should be out in public. But he has served his 25 years, so what do we do? So they decide to send him to this thing called the at McNeil Island, which is a special commitment center for sex offense treatment. And while they're there, this is the part that's confusing to me. So in order to hold somebody at McNeil Island, back in 1990, they passed something called the Community Protection Act, which allows the state to detain people who experts believe have been deemed 50% or more likely to reoffend if not held in a secure setting. So maybe somebody who has fulfilled their 25 years but is still dangerous, like in this guy's case, they believed he was. So they send him away to McNeil Island, where he's been for the last 19 years. It's crazy to think about 19 years being 2008. That's insane. But he's there for 19 years, and now, because of his age and his health and his declining mental state, or all the claims, the Attorney General's office of our state put this statement out. They said the state cannot meet its burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt that Coe, this is that guy, Kevin Coe, is likely to commit predatory acts of sexual violence if released. And so they sent a letter. Everybody connected to this case, former prosecutors, law enforcement who were involved in this, family members, down the line now, because this was years ago, family members were alerted to the fact that this guy has a court date coming up where they say it's highly likely that he will be released from this sexual treatment facility that he's been at for 19 years. And that doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense because when you read the article, they talk about how they believe he's still in the first stage of changing his behavior. So the way they make these assessments at this facility, I'll read you a little bit about this. Coe is still regarded by experts, this is from Seattle Times piece, as being in the first stage of changing his behavior. He has declined to engage in sex offender treatment, and not much is known about whether he continues to endorse, support, or wants to engage in sexually violent activities, according to court records. Coe's treatment plan states that he possesses a high level of psychopathy traits, psychopathy, and has often engaged in grievances-based thinking, saying, quote, I'm the real victim, and, quote, I've been treated unfairly. He was also diagnosed with several sex-based disorders, according to court records. Here's my question to you, and you guys can text me and answer this question if you can. Let's say you're in Spanaway or you're Pierce County. Does this guy feel dangerous to you? Like, honest question. He's 77 years old. They describe his current existence as in poor health. They say he recently had a stroke. He's got heart issues, suffers from dehydration, which is every 77-year-old I know, degenerative disc disease, and other ailments. They describe him as frail. He's socially withdrawn, has little motivation to take care of himself, and his main activity is watching television. Do we care at all that this is the state he finds himself in right now?
They're basically saying he's so elderly that he's not really a risk.
Yeah, they're saying he's so old and sad, and they don't believe that they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt, or at least over the 50% mark, that they think he's possibly a danger to anybody if he were to get out. But to me, if you have earned the moniker South Hill Rapist, and they believe that you have committed between 30 and 40 rapes, you've been convicted of some, but they believe that there's 30 or 40. Why is this even a discussion? Why are they even talking about letting this guy out? Just keep him locked up. He's not even participating in any of the classes that he's supposed to be participating in.
That would make the difference for me if he had proven that he'd been successfully rehabilitated by this rehabilitation program for rapists,
This treatment plan that they have assigned him, yeah.
Sure. And he's really elderly. I would consider it, but it doesn't sound like he's even really trying.
Yeah. No, according to this piece, it says he has declined to engage in sex offender treatment. And he's made statements that say, I'm the real victim and I've been treated unfairly. So even if he doesn't have the means to do something anymore at 77, and who knows? Who knows with somebody at 77? I've met a lot of 77-year-olds who are very, agile. They get out, they hike, they do stuff.
We have a story in the show about someone who's 87 today.
And fought off a couple of would-be Rolex thieves. Yeah. You're totally right. I forgot about that. So why would they even consider letting this guy out? This doesn't make sense. And for the people who live in Spanaway, geez Louise, he's supposed to go to adult home. This is what they said. They sent an email. The DSHS sent an email out, official email to everybody involved in the case. And they said he was scheduled for an unconditional release hearing on October 2nd, which is coming up. The email said it is, quote, highly likely that the civil commitment case against Coe will be dismissed and that he will be released to the adult family home as soon as within 24 hours of the hearing. So by October 3rd, you could have a new neighbor in Spanaway.
Well, that just puts adult care home workers at risk, too.
I would think so.
I would hate to think of who might be a nurse to him who,
Certainly you shouldn't force any women to take care of this guy, right? I mean, if he's known as the guy who rapes 30 to 40 women, I wouldn't stick him in a room with women. And I would hope that they would have the common sense to make sure that he's being attended to by really strong.
Well, and never someone on their own. And those
always
conditions seem obvious. And also it would make sense to not release him if you had to have that kind of level of precaution around him.
Also, I would question. So at this trial, or not this trial, this release hearing that happens on October 7th, they're going to give the family members of the victims an opportunity to speak on behalf of their family members, some of whom are no longer with us. This one person who wanted to remain anonymous. She's the granddaughter of one of the victims, and she said this is triggering. She received an email. She received a notice in the mail that he is likely to be released. Her grandmother has since died, who he presumably, in the story, raped. She says the trauma that he inflicted upon their family is just not something that she can forget. She says, my stepdad has also passed away, and he would be beside himself about his potential release, about Coe's potential release. He would have been beside himself. I mean, this is just one person of the 30 or 40 families who would be affected by this. And the first female prosecutor ever in that county where he was prosecuted, I believe this was Spokane, Patricia Thompson, she was asked about this. And she says she was very surprised by the news that he could get out. She says some people probably will say he should rot away and never be released, except in a coffin. Others would say he served enough time. For me, I thought he would be there forever. She says, looking back at the time when the trial was going on, there was an awful lot of fear that he would be released. And now that fear is possibly becoming a reality. Again, he's old. It sounds like he's not in great mental health. And is he going to, be the same person he was when he was locked up decades ago?
I will
obviously
say the Golden State Killer had a very similar pattern of behavior to this guy. He just wasn't caught. And they put him in jail he was in his 70s when they finally caught that guy.
Yeah.
I don't think age should really be a factor.
No, not when you do something like this.
No.
Not when you do something like this. And so, if you have to make a call to the Attorney General's office, that should be a call that if you guys are concerned about this in Spanaway, just imagine waking up on October 3rd and your new neighbor, oh, who's that new guy? Just moved to the neighborhood. Oh, he's actually he's a South Hill rapist. I don't know if you've ever heard of his case. Yeah, he lives here now. The state decided he was free and easy to just come on over and be our neighbor now.
Did he complete the program? No.
No. In fact, he didn't even want to participate at all. And they say that he has a bunch of, he's actually been diagnosed with psychopathy and a bunch of other sexual disorders. But anyway.
Yeah, he's coming to the barbecue later.
Yeah.
What?
That's a house you don't knock on at Halloween, for sure. All right. Can we really fast before we run out of time here? This story makes zero sense to me. This second story. These are both like crazy guy stories. A Lakewood, this is back in, I think this was August 18th. And we have some audio here. We'll play in just a second. Police in Lakewood responded after, on the night of August 18th, there was a bikini barista who was serving a guy. He pulled up for a coffee or whatever he was getting. And at the end of this interaction, he buys the drink. It's all on video camera because there's video cameras everywhere. At the end of the interaction, she hands him the order. He reaches up and tries to grab her arm, which I think he successfully does in the video. And you can see she's kind of like pulled. It's almost like, you remember that scene in Jurassic Park where the guy is, like opening the gate on the first raptor that we see, and he's like grabbed and they're pulling him. He's trying to be pulled into the raptor enclosure. That's what this looks like. I mean, not quite that violent, but that's what this looks like. She is a predator, is grabbing her arm, and she's trying to figure out how to get away. Now, thankfully, she's able to stop from being pulled into the, do we have the video here? Here we go. He reaches out. Very clear in the video. You can see his face. He reaches out. He grabs her arm. He's just been given the drink, and then he tries to pull her in. She slams her face against the glass. She fights him off. This is a very scary moment for this girl. This is like a life-changing, scary moment for this girl. Police then track him down. He then takes off when he does not get his prey. He then takes off. Police go to the bikini barista stand. They find that he paid with a credit card, so they were able to track him down through his credit card, and they find out where he lives, and they go and they talk to him, and they interview the guy. And in the video, he's admitting to these detectives what happened. He's talking to these Lakewood detectives, and he says, "It was just a bad night for me. I'm sorry," he said when asked about his goal. His name is Ezekiel Guerrero. He says, no, I get it. I didn't even know I didn't even know why I showed up there, bro. Like, I was drunk. I was upset. He tells the police that, this was just a horrible mistake, and instantly he knew he was doing wrong, so that's why he let go.
It was just a flash. The moment I realized what I did, I let go.
So he says he let go. He says it was a mistake. Honestly, I didn't mean it. Like, that's not me, I promise. Like, it was just a moment that I had that I wish I didn't. He says he was fighting with his girlfriend. He then went and, showed up drunk or high was his claim. It was a few days later when they got him, so there's no way to prove that. Here's the part that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. But listen to this part. So he's being charged with first-degree attempted kidnapping. And we just watched the video. If you're on YouTube and you're enjoying the show with us on YouTube, go to youtube.com. In the search bar, type KIRO 97.3 FM, and you can join us for the Jake and Spike show, even though it's just me today. I do not understand this. A judge releases him from jail. Guess how much the bail was? Bupkis. Nothing. Cashless bail. Nothing. This guy tried to grab a human being, a full-grown person.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Why would they put this guy on cashless bail? This doesn't make any sense. 0 cents. He says it was just a moment of weakness. He was drunk. He was high. Yada, yada. Fighting with his girlfriend. Those are not the actions of somebody who's having a moment of weakness. I think most people listening right now have probably had moments of weakness. They've probably been drunk. Many of you maybe have been high and drunk at the same time. How many of those times have you gone and tried to kidnap somebody? That is a Class A felony in our state. Why would you give a cashless bail on this? Does this make any sense to you, Laura? Wouldn't you at least have some barrier to say, hey, you know what? Let's give him a $100,000 bail. With a bondsman, it's $10,000. But something. It's not like it's even, he admits to doing it.
No, he was sitting in cuffs, said, I did this, and now he's pleading not guilty. If you plead guilty and you want to go wait at home, and I don't know, but to admit that you've done it. To admit you've done it. Then
on video.
Plead not guilty. You're caught on camera. It makes no sense to me.
It doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense to me.
And for them to give cashless bail, they don't take these things seriously. And I guess the theme of this opening segment is these are very serious crimes. People don't feel safe because they don't trust now not law enforcement. These are policy decisions above law enforcement. They trust cops. What they're not trusting is the people responsible for keeping these guys locked up. Don't release a South Hill rapist. That's obvious. Like, we can all agree on that, right? Don't give this guy a cashless bail who tried to kidnap this bikini barista. That seems obvious. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Text me, 888-973-5476. All right, we got a lot more coming up. Chris Sullivan is going to join us next. There's some big updates on some road closures that you're going to need to hear about. Also, an update on the White River Bridge. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This hour is brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino.
The John Curley Show.
In-N-Out Burger, is that the ones with the old-fashioned 1950s hat on and stuff like that?
Weekdays 3 to 7.
They definitely used to. I don't know.
I think they still have that.
Yeah,
they're
probably.
incredibly courteous service. I noticed that as well.
Yeah, they're
second only to Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, those people are so kind. You could, while you're waiting in line, they baptize your child. Spay and neuter people. Dogs, anyway, yeah.
Watch The John Curley Show live on YouTube.
Hey there, when I needed some work done on my roof, there was only one company to call, Valentine Roofing. Hey, it's Jake Skorheim, and that's what I did. I needed something fixed on my roof. Valentine Roofing went the extra mile to get there fast. They got my roof looking like new again. The scheduling was seamless and easy. I have told you guys about this. I couldn't even be there for the service. It didn't even matter. They showed up. They got the work done. They did an extended treatment on my roof to make it look brand new. They cleaned everything up. It's like I never even knew they were there, except my roof looks brand new now. And they sent me a nice handy little link with pictures and video from the visit. It was fantastic. You have to do the same thing. Leaves are going to fall now. We got weather coming in. We got needles and branches. They're going to cover your roof just like mine was. The rain will come. Fortunately, Valentine makes knocking out that fall checklist stress-free. They'll even insulate your attic or clean the exterior of your home. And with zero-down financing for most projects, you can get the work done now and pay over time. This fall, give your home the Valentine it deserves. Check them out online at valentineroof.com or call 206-ROOFING to get your free estimate today. That is 206-ROOFING.
Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens has given me back